If you have been struggling to get sales from your design work or understanding what you really need to do to make money, I have the workshop for you. On September 23rd, I'm hosting my first ever Profitable Designer Workshop. This 1-day, 3-hour workshop is only $97, but I have a discount for all my podcast listeners. Go to carinagardnercourses.com/profit and put in the code podcast for $50 off. I can't wait to see you more profitable. Welcome to the Make and Design Podcast. I'm your host, Carina Gardner. On this podcast, we're unraveling the everyday joys and dilemmas of design, making, and business. For makers who want to be designers and for designers who are makers, this is your inside scoop to help you grow your business and bring more creativity to your life.
Hey guys, today I thought we would talk about some practical advice and talk about the 8 things you have to have in order to be a designer. Some of these are like physical things that you actually need. Others are mindset things, but I think they're all extremely important. And I've got my notes in front of me today because I didn't want to miss one or do them in the wrong order. By the way, if you are just joining us ever for the first time, first of all, welcome. We love having new people come listen to the podcast. Second, my hope is that you have come here and your goal is to become a designer. I love teaching designers. I love giving content to designers. And my hope is that it will take you exactly where you need to go so that you can build an amazing design career. Okay, here we go. 8 things. The first one is extremely practical, and I hope that you also have this moment of like, yeah, I know I have to have that. And that is a computer. But not just any computer. You need to have a computer with great amounts of memory on it. Now, I get often asked the question, especially for Design Suite members who are coming into the program, what computer do I need to get? And it doesn't matter whether it's a PC or Mac. So some of you will be relieved to hear that. But there are definitely certain types of computers that are going to help you more than others. And I am not the expert on computers. I personally am a Mac user because I have been back in the day when Adobe and the graphics were better on Mac. So I am kind of used to a Mac at this point and don't really see myself ever using a PC, but PCs are awesome these days. There are lots of PCs that work with what the software that we need to use, which brings me to point number 2, which is you have to have the Adobe software. I know you guys, I know a lot of you want to use programs like Infinity or CorelDRAW or Procreate. These are all great programs. And in fact, we actually encourage our members to have Procreate. But in conjunction with that, you have to have the Adobe software. Why? Because this is the software being used for all the manufacturing industries, for our end results that we need our end product as. So in particular, you need Adobe Illustrator and Adobe Photoshop. I recommend the entire suite. I know that it will also, you can get it at a discount if you're a teacher or student, so check into that at Adobe. All right, number 3 is a basic understanding of design principles. I know a lot of you listening here are self-taught. I get a lot of self-taughters, and I think that's okay. In fact, that's why you're here, right? You're here to learn. But if you don't have a basic understanding of design principles, and I actually don't see any programs other than mine teaching this, then it will only get you so far. So often I'm seeing lots of courses out there that teach you how to watercolor or teach you how to create a repeat fabric design pattern. But unless you are actually getting basic design principles, the understanding of how to talk like a designer, speak, use the vocabulary, also understand how negative space and focal points all work, then you're not getting a true design education. We do teach this at a university level. So if you've got a graphic design degree, you know what I am talking about. Good core basic design principles. And what it'll do is make it so that it's easier as you are designing to make the correct choices when producing design work, okay? And by the way, we do that in Design Suite. We have a course called Design on Fire, and it is literally a graphic design's foundations course, okay? All right, number 4. have a place to sell your work. I'm a little bit adamant about this because you're not a designer if you're not actually selling your work. I see a lot of people saying they're designers and they're not actually selling anything. There's no add to cart button anywhere. They don't have a manufacturing or contract deal. Guess what? You're not a designer until you actually are selling work. So let's sell some work. And it doesn't even matter the place. As long as you're selling it, you're a designer, okay? So have a place to actually distribute your work. And that may even be possibly your own website. Although if you've been to a design boot camp, you know that I talk quite a bit about being on your own website, and it really isn't the best place for you. So you can check out a design boot camp if you're interested in that. All right. Number 5 is a desire to become better. This has come as I've watched the marketplaces now for over 14 years. And what I am seeing is designers who have stayed the same, who refuse to consistently get better or reinvent themselves, are falling behind. So you have to have a desire to produce better designs every single day, more designs, themed designs, get out of your comfort zone designs. And these are the designers who are making it. And if you have no desire to get better, then design is not a great place for you this day. There's just way too much competition out there. And you guys know what I say. Everyone's always worried about an oversaturated market. I'm not worried about the oversaturated market. I'm worried about how do I make myself better so that I can compete, okay? Because if I am better, then I don't have anything to worry about, right? Okay, so desire to become better. Number 6 is an understanding of production. Now, I used to, many moons ago, teach one day on production in my design boot camp. I no longer do this because it's just kind of over the head of those who are coming to boot camp. They're not ready for it. Instead, we keep all of that information now in Design Suite. But I'm going to say this about production. If you are not getting your stuff to the manufacturer, to the digital shop, to the creative director in the correct format, your likelihood of getting more opportunities is lessened by a lot. And I am saying this as someone who was a creative director who looked at a lot of designers' work and knew that there were lots of great designers I could work with, but I chose not to because they didn't understand production. So, production is not that hard, but if you don't know how to set up your files correctly, okay, that is a big deal. And we even dedicate an entire course to it in Design Suite because I believe it matters that much. So, you need to know how to produce your files correctly for the marketplace. Number 7, the ability to think like a designer. Now, I have talked in the past, and you can go check out my podcast episode about are you thinking like a designer, or 3 ways you know you're thinking like a designer. I go back and listen to that, but you need to be thinking like a designer all the time. When I am looking around the world, you better believe I am packaging things up in my brain all over the place, or figuring out how to work it in 3D, or figuring out how it would work at surface pattern level. So these are powerful things, okay? These are absolutely powerful things. And if you can think like a designer, really helps your creativity. All right, number 8, and this one is a big one. It's going to seem like whatever to a lot of you, but it is 100% true, and that is endurance. I think the marketplace there are a lot of designers out there, but the ones who are winning are the ones who endure. And they don't just endure by just producing every day. They're producing and being strategic every day. And that's how they're able to make money in the marketplace. That's how they're outpacing their fellow designers, or even the designers who are just getting started and then they lose their momentum. It is very clear there are certain times in a designer's design history where there's a momentum drop off. We're seeing it in Design Suite. We can identify it. We know when it happens. We're checking in with designers when that happens. And I suspect you are experiencing the same thing if you're doing it by yourself. It's actually probably even a shorter span if you're doing it by yourself. So you need endurance. and motivation. I think motivation is huge. We're actually in November going to be doing an accelerated workshop on motivation because I just think it is hard to keep going all by yourself. When you're doing this thing all by yourself, it's just difficult. So I think endurance is a big deal, and maybe you don't, as a designer, feel like you have a ton of endurance. My suggestion to you is to find a community, some accountability, and some motivation, and those things will really help you. All right, those are the 8 things you guys need to become a designer. Hopefully you liked that list. Maybe you're doing some of those things on that list. Maybe you're doing all of those things on that list. That would be amazing if you were. If you want to learn more about really making it as a designer, I would love to see you in a design boot camp. In design boot camp, we will open up Design Suite for people to come into the program. That's the only time we do it. And if that's something you're interested in, I know I talked in previous episodes about Design Suite. It's just a one-of-a-kind program that we do literally because we feel that if you have support, you can become a designer. And we give you crazy amounts of support in both design education, motivation, and of course, the inside scoop, things that you're not going to be able to get out there anywhere else, because we know that if you're in Design Suite, you can make it. You can get to the next level. You can become a phenomenal designer and, just create amazing designs. All right, guys, thanks for joining me today, and I will talk to you soon.
Hey, did you know that you can visit me at makeanddesign.com to learn more about this podcast and join my VIP group for weekly freebies? I can't wait to see you there.